Welcome to the latest NintendoFuse Podcast. This is episode number 320 entitled Gamescom and Kirby Air Riders. I'm your host Barry and I'm joined today by Greg. How you doing, Greg?
Doing all right. So now we finally got it up and running, I believe. So I think my audio and everything should be all good. So, um,
Well, I'd like to just take a moment to thank everyone for being here and remind you guys, if you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel down below. You could also subscribe to us on your favorite podcast application. We greatly appreciate it. And we greatly appreciate if you share this podcast with any of your game playing or non game playing friends. We really, really do appreciate that. So thank you. You could also follow us on Discord. You can follow us. The link will be down below in the YouTube description and podcast show notes. We continue the conversation, in between episodes. We'd love to have you there and be a part of that as well. On top of that, we have social media. You can follow us at Nintendo Fuse everywhere else. So, as we always start podcasts, we go to our first section, what you've been playing. So, Greg, why don't you kick us off? What have you been playing?
all right. So, pretty much on Switch 2, I've just been checking out those upcoming game chat games. I believe it's Tori 2 and like the Tori special pack and the other Tori games there. So you'll have to stay tuned for upcoming game chat that we should hopefully be able to release in the next few weeks here once we get our thoughts and everything all recorded. I was also I think I had wrapped up a little bit in Donkey Kong Bonanza, I think, or maybe not. I don't trying to remember if I had opened it or not. So if I did, it was to try to get the last remaining things there, but I don't necessarily think I actually opened it necessarily from the last podcast. I had 100%ed it, but or at least nearly 100%ed it outside those missing chip things. But I think that might have been the only games on Switch 2 that I was playing. I'm drawing a blank and because I didn't really draw map everything out like I normally do in the our guide, but I do know on the mobile side I still go through with the standard Roblox suite of games like Adopt Me and Dandy's World and Grow a Garden and some other ones that I've had some fun playing with my daughter as she wrapped up with her summer vacation right before going back to school. And then still playing the Cookie Run Kingdom also with her on like it's just a standard app they get in the either the Apple Store or the Google Play Store. So still really enjoying those two there. And then I did place pretty high in the last arena mode, like in the top like 15% or something. So it's like I've already start to really master and get the hang of the abilities and how to optimize the different characters that you get along the way. So that's what I've been up to.
Ah, those are some great games, Greg. I noticed you weren't on Switch as much. I know you've been busy, so I hear you, and I've been busy too. I don't have the largest list this time, and that's because of one game which I'll get to. But I do have a series of games, and I didn't even touch the Switch 2 for Switch 2 games this entire 2 week period. But for Switch 1. Still doing my daily Pokemon Unite and Asphalt Legends Unite. They're just part of my daily routine, and a lot of fun with those still. Booted up Pokemon Scarlet. They gave away some Pokemon for free, so I wanted to capitalize and get those. For a future review for Nintendo Fuse, I played a game called Mad Skills BMX2. It is a kind of a 1v1 racing BMX game, very similar to the Trials of games or like the Trials HD and all those from Ubisoft, but it's instead of just solo tricks, it's actually racing. Also for a future game chat that you'll see, Boulder Dash 40th anniversary. I grew up with Boulder Dash back in the Commodore 64, so it's great to play it again and see all the history. There's a lot to this game, so stay tuned for a future game chat. But the main thing I've been playing is a game called The 100 Line Last Defense Academy, a game that I played last time, and I talked about it. I said like, I hope to finish it before this podcast. Well, I have not, and it's not for not trying. The game is huge, and I always wanted to play this game because I love Danganronpa and I love the creator and all his stories. but I was turned off initially because of the real combat or the turn-based combat that uses, and I'm not a big fan of like Fire Emblem or Final Fantasy Tactics. Like I just never really got into that combat. But the combat here, it works. I find it fun. And I love that later on you can actually skip the combat, and the story is so good. It's like 150 hours to complete this game, and there's a lot to it. And it really doesn't get boring. There's a lot of changes, and it's almost like so many, probably like 100 games in one. Like I can't recommend this enough. It is so much fun. But that's my main focus over the past 2 weeks. On the PC, I'm still playing Final Fantasy 14. Patch 7.3 came out last time we talked, last time we had a podcast. Still working my way through that. And on the mobile side, Mario Kart Tour, the New York Times games, LinkedIn games, Pokemon TCG Pocket, all still playing. And we talked last time about Pokemon Friends. I've played some since that podcast, but I've quit it since. It just having the games like there's something about it. I started getting, stumped on games, which was fine, but the game just stops you. It doesn't let you finish it after the timer wears out, and I'd rather, even though not getting points, I want to see it through to completion, and I just didn't get to complete. And there was no drive to the game. You get these little plushies to decorate your room, which I don't care about. And there's quests where you can give these plushies to people to build a meter to get more quests, and I just don't care about it. So it's just one more thing I have to worry about. And you can't pick the games you play, and there's motion control games that I'm just not a fan of, and touch screen games where I'm messing up because I'm trying to touch and I don't have that tactile feel. So unfortunately, that has left my daily routine. So let's go. Is there anyone in the chat right now? Zev Zero is there. Hello, Zev. Um, you can hear me. Okay, good. I'm glad you can hear me. How you doing? Let us know what. Oh, my audio was muted. Now, see, I'm reading the chat now. My audio is muted by Greg. You're trying to sabotage me, aren't you? I see how it is.
Yeah, so you might have to re-record the soft opening for Steve to send a small audio file, but I think I got it
Uh,
on, so I think I got it at least while you were going through your list of games right when I saw the comments. So I'm glad I did that. And I was like, wait a minute, definitely don't see his audio mixer moving. So I think it was essentially just was somehow dragged to the opposite side. I don't know why I did that because I
so if you're listening to this in post, apparently, and my voice sounds different in the very, very beginning, this is why. It's all Greg's fault. I'm not shouldering the blame on this. He muted me. He didn't want you to hear me. Clearly, I had something to say that he didn't want the world hearing, so I do apologize. But let us know in the comments what you've been playing. My silence is deafening. Yes, you hear that? My silence is deafening. I agree. So we do have some headlines before we get to the main topics. So Greg, why don't you start us off, since we can hear you, with what's going on with Nintendo Music app.
All right. So I like to cover these as I'm an avid fan of the musical applications. So right on my birthday, actually, we got 7 songs from Kirby Air Riders on August 19th. So that's like the upcoming game that I think that came out right after the Nintendo Direct that we'll be talking about a little bit later. But then as of yesterday, we got some more additional soundtrack options for Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I guess there was some tracks that were not necessarily on there already, but I guess now the full thing is there and probably including all of the any new tracks that they added for the upcoming DLC. So that's it for Nintendo Music this time around.
And while we'll be talking about Gamescom in a little bit, one thing that was shown off at Gamescom was the final trailer revealing all the games for the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection. If you didn't know, this is a collection coming out very, very soon, next month, that is going to contain the following games: the original Mortal Kombat, arcade, Super Nintendo, Genesis, Game Boy, and the Game Gear version. Game Boy version is terrible, by the way. Mortal Kombat 2 on arcade, Super Nintendo, Genesis, Game Boy, and the 32X version. Mortal Kombat 3, the arcade, Super Nintendo, and Genesis version. Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, the arcade, the WaveNet arcade, and the SNES version. Mortal Kombat Trilogy on PlayStation. Mortal Kombat 4, the arcade version. Mortal Kombat Mythologies Sub-Zero, the PlayStation version, Mortal Kombat Special Forces, the PlayStation version, Mortal Kombat Advance, the GBA version, Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, the GBA version, and Mortal Kombat Tournament Edition, GBA version. So all of those games are going to be there. There's a collector's edition you could buy. There's a bunch of different physicals. The Atari website has exclusive slipcovers you can get if you want the physicals, but you can only get one slipcover. They're not selling a pack. I already tried. It sucks. So if you want all the slipcovers, you got to buy a lot of copies of the games. But this is all releasing September 30th of 2025.
Another game that was showed off at Gamescom that we'll be covering a little bit more was actually Hollow Knight Silksong. So, as any fans understand, that it's been a long time coming, as there was like basically little to zero information all up until this last week. So, they held like a little stream that they did, and then they actually announced that it will be available surprisingly very soon, coming here on September 4th. So, anyone that's been finally awaiting for Hollow Knight Silksong, the wait is nearly over, and you can be sure to make your purchases and check it out on starting on September 4th.
And speaking of long-awaited games, the GameCube NSO app got an update out of nowhere on August 21st, so just a few days ago. Chibi Robo has entered the chat, and I'm really happy about this simply because it's a game that has jumped in value. I think it's like $250, and has I believe the original was only released on the GameCube. I don't know if it was ever on like the Wii Virtual Console or the Wii U Virtual Console because I didn't mess around with those much, but I'm really glad that more people get to experience this hidden gem. I was one of the few that liked Ziplash, but now you can play the original on NSO.
Capcom recently tweeted out that they'll be hosting one of their Capcom Presents. It's like a 90-minute panel that they're going to be doing at the New York Comic Con, and that will be happening on October 10th around 3:45 p.m. Eastern Time. So it'll be showcasing any upcoming releases from Capcom that they'll be just announcing, considering their upcoming games that they have in the future. So I don't know, they're not like Nintendo, and it's the games that'll be out by the end of the year or even early next year. It's probably anything that they are ready to announce and formally show off at this presentation that they're doing here.
I love it when they do something on my birthday. Something for your birthday, something for mine. And finally, tonight, IGN posted an article about the Switch 2 and about frustration that a lot of developers are having with it. According to Digital Foundry, Nintendo is restricting the supply of Switch 2 dev hardware and instead telling studios to launch their titles as Switch 1 games that can be played via backwards compatibility. This has sparked frustration among a number of developers, including at least one major AAA studio unable to launch a Switch 2 native version of their game, while hardware is given to other indie creators instead. So, those are the headlines. Greg, what are your thoughts rounding out?
Well, you know me, I always like the new additions to the Nintendo Music app, so I haven't had a chance to check out these this time around, but I'm sure I'll be checking out the Kirby Air Riders because I remember from the direct there was some tracks that sounded pretty interesting to I'll be wanting to listen to a little bit more. I'm definitely super excited for the Legacy Collection and Hollow Knight. Those are both two things that I think is really cool to have. I've Mortal Kombat's usually been my fighting game of choice, so to actually have a collection with all the various games, I don't. It would be really nice to have the be playable on Switch too. So I was hoping to at least probably mostly stick to the main classic trilogy, like the one, two, and three Ultimate and stuff, most likely. But um, it's still great that they're releasing all the different games from various consoles into a single collection package. And then, as I said, Hollow Knight has been something I've been waiting for since they've announced it. Like it feels like nearly a decade ago, but I don't know if it's been nearly that long yet. But I definitely very stoked and will be getting that on release day. Chibi Robo has been a series I need to check out. I have never played the GameCube original. I know that the Nintendo kind of killed off the series with the last entry that was on whatever, like the 3DS or Wii,
3DS.
it was 3DS then. So I wanted to kind of check it out to see his roots on the GameCube at some point, hopefully in the near future. And then basically the presentation announcement is just something that we'll be checking out later on down the road once that's all the details are there, along with the the discouraging Switch 2 thing was a kind of interesting read. It was kind of interesting that Nintendo is not prioritizing some of the AAA developers and instead making sure that some of the indies are having the access to the dev kits instead. So I guess they really need to get on that and make sure that more developers can actually have their systems in place so they can get some games to develop on the Switch 2 because it's already out and we kind of need to get more games at this point in time. So it's definitely would be nice to have some more devs working on like Switch 2 games.
Absolutely. Going to the chat, Jakester has joined us. So welcome, Jakester. He wants to know how it feels being Steveless. We're all broken up here. It's terrible. We're gutted. There's a missing piece of our trifecta that can't be filled until Steve is back. Um, and he says he's currently playing Chibi Robo. Speaking of it, and he can't put it down. So it's great to hear. Glad you're enjoying it. Zev says that with the collection, the Mortal Kombat collection, maybe he could finally beat Mythology's Sub Zero. I think that's a sentiment a lot of people agree with, and he agrees that Chibi Robo rocks. So and Jakester asked, was Ziplash that bad? No, I enjoyed Ziplash. I beat it 100%. It was a platforming game though, so it was not the same type of game. It was a 2D platforming game,
Yeah,
and you like used your cord to plug, and it was a little slower, but I enjoyed it. But if you wanted more of like Chibi Robo on the GameCube, you're not getting it. So just a heads up. But again, I enjoyed it. It's probably going to stay on the 3DS forever. There was also Park Patrol on the DS that was a Walmart exclusive, at least in America for the physical. That is closer to the original, but it's not as in depth. Zev says Ziplash was good. The amiibo was very cute. Yes, the amiibo was very cute. But that's one of the few that never came to America, so you have to import that. Oh, and that photo finder. Jake's room talking mining. There was photo finder that was a that was I believe that was DSiWare if I remember correctly, and it was also not very good. A lot of the early DSiWare, like there was WarioWare Snapped, that was just not very good. But at least I didn't have a good experience. It was all trying to mimic and use the camera. So about the headlines, my thoughts: Nintendo Music. It's always great that it's updated. I still haven't booted it up, but for those that do, I'm happy. Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, I'm excited about. I am a little upset that they didn't include more versions. Like it would be really cool to have the N64 version of Trilogy. It had exclusive characters. At least I think one exclusive character. The N64 version of Mythologies Sub Zero would have been cool to have. The N64 version of Mortal Kombat 4. And I know there was a special version of Mortal Kombat 4 that was used in like arcades. I believe like Goro was a sub boss. That apparently is lost. So unfortunately, that is gone. But I would like to just see a little, like a few more options. But that's just me. It's about preservation. Just preserve what you can. More bang for the buck. I'm so happy that Hollow Knight Silksong is has a release date and is coming out. Not because I want to play it, just because now people will stop getting upset and giving like directs a 0 out of 10 because Silksong wasn't shown off. Because that was always just frustrating. Maybe one day I will play it, but I didn't really enjoy Hollow Knight. So maybe when I'm better in the mindset, I'll give it another shot. But for all those that have been waiting for Silksong, I'm so happy for you, and I hope you enjoy it like crazy. Um, as for Chibi Robo, again, I'm just really glad that's out for more people to enjoy. I messed around with it briefly back in the GameCube. I still have my GameCube copy, but I did play through an 100% Ziplash, so maybe I'll go back and play through the GameCube if I get time. If 100 line ever lets me go, the game's forever. Always happy about the Capcom Presents. Anytime developers get out there and show new stuff. It's at New York Comic Con, which is funny because I used to go to New York Comic Con all the time, and it's on my birthday. So give me a birthday present, Capcom. Make a new Mega Man game. That's what I'm asking. That's the best gift you can give me. Okay, on my birthday, announce a new Mega Man game at Capcom Presents. I doubt you'll do it, but I want you to prove me wrong. And as for discouraging the Switch 2 development, it's a weird thing. I think what Nintendo has done, they looked at the Switch library, and anyone looks at the Switch library, you're going to see something similar to the PS2 library and the Wii library and the DS library. Whenever there's a system that takes off, you're going to get a lot of developers wanting to put their games on there. There's a lot of what's classically used as shovelware on the Switch library. There's a lot of great games. There's more great games I think than any other system, but there's a lot of shovelware, and I think Nintendo looks at that and is scared of the Switch 2 falling into the same boat. So I think they're more reserved right now. They want games that really utilize the Switch 2 on the Switch 2 and not, you know, Jerry's Photo Finder, a mobile game ported to the Switch. They just put that on the Switch. You have a bigger install base on the Switch. It keeps the Switch alive longer. And then, of course, if you have a Switch 2, you can play it on the Switch 2. And I think that's their mentality. Is that a mentality that's going to bite them in the butt? We don't know. But I do know it's not a good idea to alienate or upset any developer, because then they're not going to want to put their games on your platform. So hopefully this doesn't hurt them. Hopefully developers are a little more patient and understanding. The Switch has a huge library. The Switch 2 is a great start. So I guess we'll see. But that's just my speculation based on what Nintendo is thinking, what I think Nintendo is thinking. And if I'm wrong, then so be it. But that's at least my thought. In the chat, Jakester corrected me. It was 3DS wear, not DSi wear. All right. So I know the Wario. I believe the Wario one was DSi wear. So that was a 3DS. Again, it was early. It was like it was a gimmick. It was use the camera. That's what they wanted. It's a 3D camera. Use it. I mean, they shoved that in their faces and then they stopped stopped doing much with it. All right, so those are our discussions. So let's move on to the main discussions we have tonight. We have two topics. The first one is in between our podcast. Nintendo dropped another direct, the Kirby Air Riders Direct, a game that we knew was announced. It was announced as part of the Switch 2 presentation. We saw a trailer for it, and that's all we knew other than Sakurai was back doing it. He hinted at it back in his YouTube videos about him doing a proposal back in I think it was the Smash on one of the Smash character trailers. He hinted that he was doing a proposal to Nintendo and couldn't talk about it. And this is the proposal, and he's making his dream come true. So Kirby Air Riders had a direct showing off. It was like 45 minutes. You know Sakurai, he likes to talk. He showcased a lot of different things. So the main points that were just the highlight points is that it's coming out November 20th of this year. So it is a holiday title. It is the November game, a time period which I figure would be for Metroid, but Kirby Air Riders is taking that slot. And they showed off a bunch of different things. One, the different writing techniques you could do, how each machine has different forms and different traits. Some are better for like ground, some are better for flight. Like the original on the GameCube, you can only push one button, and that was it. They did the drastic thing here, and they added a second button, so you don't actually need to push a button to go. You just tilt the Joy-Con left to right to accelerate or brake, and you could push the B button to do a boost charge, where your machine kind of like hits the ground and like slows down almost to a crawl if you let it, and when you release it, you blast ahead. So you use this around corners and do different techniques to get faster. So it's very, very different than standard racing games. Your character also gets special moves, and that's what the Y button's for. So two buttons, very complicated. Uh, Special button will activate the unique special move, and it's really interesting. Kirby's the only one with four special moves, uh, depending on I think which direction you're pushing or what maybe you selected at the
I think
start.
I think it's each color has its own separate like
Maybe it's each
skin.
color.
So I think like
Okay.
red might be more like a fire-based one, I'm guessing, and then like stuff like that, just because Kirby just has so many different abilities throughout all his various
He does.
adventures.
And now the original Kirby Air Riders, or Kirby's Air Ride, you can only play as Kirby, and you can unlock DD and Meta Knight. This game, you actually have riders, which is why it's called Riders. You have additional characters like Meta Knight and King DD. You have Bandana Waddle D, as well as enemies like Cappy, Chef Kawasaki, Starman, and a bunch of others will be revealed. So they haven't revealed them all. Also, the different machines, in addition to the riders, you get to choose which machine you want. There's a bunch of different types of machines. And unlike the original, where you had to like stop, get out, walk to another machine to switch, now you can like bump into a machine and auto hop on, which is cool. There's also copy abilities, which is a staple of Kirby since Kirby's Dream Land 2. And I to level the playing field, everyone gets copy abilities now, so everyone can use it. It's not just a Kirby thing, which is really interesting because like one of them is wheel, which is pretty funny because there's already a wheel uh, machine to ride. Then he went through a bunch of the different modes. Um, the main mode that everyone's been waiting for is City Trial. City Trial was the main mode of the original. It was also then utilized again in Smash 4 on the 3DS, a City Trial type mode, and everyone loves it there too. So they're bringing it back in a place called Skya. It's a giant floating island that's a city with a bunch of different zones, and you get 5 minutes to run around the zone. Choose your vehicle because you start with the default vehicle. You can change your vehicle. You could do little mini events during these 5 minutes, mini races, collecting items. You could have hazards like Gordos dropping from the ground or Krakow coming out and electrocuting people. So every 5 minutes is always different, and you collect power ups to power up your ride. And when it's done, you go to your stadiums where you can either it's picked for you by default, or there'll be like one of four different events you can do, and each event like is stronger for like machines or air machines, or trying to tailor made what you build on. And if you build with a lot of flight, you should pick one of those or try to get one of those that is for flight. In addition, they talk about air ride mode, which is up to 6 racers can compete. Pretty standard for a racing game. There's lessons, so there's a bunch of different lessons you can take to learn how to play the game. So there was a lot to go over, and this isn't even everything. In addition, if you're going to PAX West 2025 this year, which is in Seattle, August 29th, so this week, this weekend actually, you'll have the opportunity to get a hands-on on the demo. So if you're going, I hope you get a chance to play this, and please let us know what your thoughts are. But Greg, actually, let's see. Let's go to the chat first. Let's see if anyone's talking about Kirby Air Riders. Uh, no, no one has mentioned anything about Air Riders. So, Greg, what are your thoughts on this direct? Did you watch it live? Did you watch it afterwards? Is this the first you're hearing about this stuff?
Um, I did watch it. It wasn't live, unfortunately, because it was on my birthday, and I didn't quite remember it until a little bit after the fact. But I did watch it. I think either like later that I don't know if it was before I went to bed or if it was like literally just this next day or whatever. But I did watch it in full, so I didn't get to see all the disappointing comments from the live chat saying like, "Oh, show us Smash Brothers" and any other garbage that people like to post in the Nintendo live streams that they do for the directs. But um, overall, it's definitely a very information like overhaul. I didn't really know too much about like Kirby, the Air Rider game, like the original one on GameCube. So I didn't actually play that one, but uh, everything I saw here definitely has me very interested in to pick it up and even to try to learn a little bit more. It seems like it's could be. I hate to really say this, but it seems like to be a better version of Mario Kart just for the Switch 2. So, everything that they were really showing off was seemed kind of cool. The way there's like strategy with the different types of like riders you can have and all the different card options that can customize the stats. I mean, Mario Kart's obviously done that as well in previous games, but yeah, it's certainly very lots of details that they had showed off, and it. was very overwhelming with the amount of information, and it was nice to be able to actually see everything. So yeah,
Yeah, so I agree with you. It's one of those things where the the game itself, I didn't like play much of the GameCube version, but I was like, all right, when the GameCube version came out, I was still in college. It's been so long. I want to see more information, and I was really happy to see all this. Like it sold the game even more to me. Like, all right, like this looks like a lot of fun. I want to know more because I know Sakurai always adds so much extra stuff. Like he just throws extra content in. So I want to know what's missing. Like what don't we know yet? What kind of surprises are there? And especially because so I'm not saying Sakurai doesn't like making Smash games. I'm sure he does, but he loves Kirby, and this is something he wanted to do. So whenever a developer is making the game they want to, I feel it's even extra special. So I'm happy for him, and I'm happy it's getting a lot of attention, and of course the music going to Nintendo Music, which is great. I was really surprised, truly, really surprised that the GameCube version didn't drop on NSO. I was expecting. I would put money down on at the end of the direct. And as a surprise, we're bringing Kirby's Air Ride to NSO, so you can play the original in anticipation. I thought that would have been a smart move to do. I don't know why they didn't. Maybe they're having issues. Maybe they don't want to have. They feel like if everyone has the original, they're not going to buy Air Riders. I don't know. I just think it's kind of weird. Like use your platform to cross promote. But we'll see. I have a feeling it will eventually appear there, but that's what I would have done. But I'm not Nintendo, so if you like that idea, I'm sorry, I have no say. But that's absolutely what I would have done.
I mean, Sakurai's also done like little clip things, and there might be some sort of mode like in the new game to ac access the old one, kind of like almost like secretly packaged in type thing, I guess they could do. But
Yeah,
because I know like Smash, I think it was Smash 4 had all those like demos you could play like the Donkey Kong arcade game and like Excite Bike and all those like different like 30-second clips of like NES games or whatever from various characters' main games or whatever. So I mean, I guess it's not
it,
out of the realm of possibility, but
at that point, I would honestly rather them just like remix the original tracks and put them in the one game instead of having two separate games. But I see no reason it shouldn't go to NSO. Just to use as a way to, oh, I'm not sure if I'm gonna like it. I don't want to spend $70 on Kirby's Air Riders. Oh, but here it is on NSO. I already pay. Let me try it out for free. Oh, I really enjoy the GameCube version. This is a lot of fun. All right, well now I'm confident, and voter or consumer confidence is a very very good thing. So I guess we'll see.
yeah,
Let us know if you think it's going to appear in NSO or not.
yeah. 'Cause, I mean, I was saying the same thing for Donkey Kong 64 before
Yep.
Bonanza came out, but that's still not up there, and that's the closest one in the entire Donkey Kong series to Bonanza. But so I don't know if there's something along those lines of why they wouldn't put Air Rider on there beforehand, but
I
hopefully
don't.
I mean, hopefully they at least add it at some point, and hopefully it's not like 3 or 4 years from now, and it's like just like give it maybe like after the holiday season. I mean, I'd much rather it be before, but you never really know.
It's NSO release schedule is always weird. I feel like it's trickle. Like I remember back, I think it was the Wii when the Virtual Console we had new games every week, and that was great. Like we didn't know what games we were getting, we didn't know what system we were getting them for, but there was new games every week. It was the same back then with Xbox Live because I was big with Xbox Live Arcade, and I believe it was Wednesday. Every Wednesday they would drop anywhere from 1 to 4 games. And in the summer, they did like this summer event where it was like every week in the summer, or every other week in the summer there was like a big game, like it was a bigger title that was dropped, and they made it a big, I think it was like for 1 month, so it was like four titles. It was like Castlevania was dropped during that, and I think Castle Crashers might have been during that, like these really really hyped, and it was awesome. It was like a festival. Even as a physical guy, like I was into it. So I feel like Nintendo should be doing that with NSO, at least a title a week, or every other week at the very least. But I feel like we're getting trickles. And I think that's what makes people upset when there's a game like, I don't know, like it's just a standard NES game or something like a Quest for Camelot on Game Boy Color that's there, and then people go like, I didn't want that. I'm still waiting for Donkey Kong 64. I feel like that would lessen that blow if they were getting games every week. Like, all right, cool, at least we're getting something. Here it's like, well, you waited 3 months. Here's what you're getting, and you will like it.
Yeah, I love the Wii days when they did like 5 or 6 games every single week. Like that was so awesome. And then ever since like the Wii U was like, oh, here's like one a month, and then like really, and then they had to like re-release all of them too. So it wasn't like they just dumped like all of the ones that were on Wii right away and then added to it. It was more that they were slowly even re-releasing the ones that were already released.
Nintendo gonna be Nintendo. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't just I don't understand them. I don't think I ever will understand them. That's part of their charm. But maybe they're listening. Maybe someone's listening with some. I'm sure we're not the only ones echoing that. But it would be nice. It would be nice to see that happen. So moving on, we do have one other main topic tonight that we'd like to talk about, and that is Gamescom. Gamescom just happened in Germany, Cologne, Germany, over the past few days. It was, I think, what, Wednesday to Sunday of last week. What a great show! We have colleagues that went there, that worked there, and that everything I've heard was very well attended. Everyone had a lot of fun. There was a lot of cool stuff shown off, and there was some really cool stuff shown off for the Switch. There was a lot of great stuff shown off for all platforms. We're just going to focus on the Switch and Switch 2 stuff tonight, but let us know if your favorite game for PlayStation or Xbox was shown off. Absolutely, we want to hear about it. We play on everything. But for Switch and Switch 2, here's some of the announcements according to Nintendo Life. And if I missed an announcement, let me know. I'm going by their article because there was just so much happening at Gamescom. Like it's a big event. So first, we got a game that Lord knows I never knew was going to come out. Bubsy 4D is coming to the Switch 1 and Switch 2. It's another 3D platformer. So what could possibly go wrong? We got Outlaws plus Handful of Missions remaster coming to the Switch 1. Uh, Bubsy is TBA release, by the way, and Outlaws is coming out sometime this year. We got He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, Dragon Pearl of Destruction. That's coming to Switch 1 soon. No date announced yet. Absalom on the Switch 1 is coming October 9th of this year. We've got Sonic Racing Worlds, which we knew about, and Pac-Man World 2 repack that we also knew about. What we didn't know is that there's a collaboration between both games. So you'll be able to do like Sonic levels in Pac-Man, and Pac-Man will be a racer as well as Pac-Man themed race tracks in Cross Worlds. So that's a really cool thing happening. That's DLC coming to both games. I don't think it's part of the base game for either of them. Uh as Greg mentioned earlier, Hollow Knight Silksong was shown off Switch 1 and 2, and that's coming in next week. So it's really soon. Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight is coming to Switch 2. The latest Lego Batman game. It's going to have like the Arkham style combat. It's going to go through pretty much the entire like movie history, and there's a lot of stuff shown off for that one. Demon X Machina Titanic Scion demo was revealed for Switch 2. The game comes out September 5th. Heard a lot of great things. I loved the first one. Steve got a review code. I'm still waiting to see if he can get me one. Steve didn't play the first game. I did, but Steve got the review code. Just want to throw that out there. I'm not bitter at all. But
Not at all.
we will have a review, whether it be from Steve or from all of us in the future. But I've heard from people who have played the demo that is great and it runs well on the Switch too. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is coming to Switch 2 next year. The once Xbox exclusive and the Xbox owned and published game. is heading to Switch 2 next year. So if that's one of the games that you were wondering about or worried that you weren't going to get to play because you don't have an Xbox, well, now you can. Chronos: The New Dawn is coming to Switch 2 September 5th, so also next week. This was shown off at the Partner Direct, and they showed off more at Gamescom. Cult of the Lamb Woolhaven expansion for Switch 1 is coming early next year. So if you love Cult of the Lamb, new content is coming soon. So those are the games shown off, at least according to Nintendo Life, that are hitting Switch 1 or Switch 2. There was a bunch of other stuff announced, but Greg, what are your thoughts on Gamescom? What was shown off? What were your highlights? What were you excited for? Was there something else that wasn't part of this article? What do you think?
I mean, I was pretty much only reviewed the stuff in the article, so like you, if we missed something, please let us know. So obviously that might be more on Nintendo Life and not either on me or Barry. So, based on what I saw from like the trailers and stuff that were on the page that I was trying to play through, I obviously Hollow Knight is my main highlight of the entire presentation. Regardless, I really enjoyed the first game. Think that was on Switch. I'm trying to blank if it was actually on Wii U or not, but I don't think so. But I did really enjoy the very first Hollow Knight game, so just I've been really excited for Silksong since they had announced it, which feels like forever ago that I said earlier. So that was the hugest takeaway. But I had never played Cult of the Lamb, but the gameplay there does seem very interesting to me. So that might be something that I pick up, especially if it's already out and they're just adding some DLC to it, because it kind of looks like one of those like action adventure, like Legend of Zelda-esque type games. So that might be something that I could check out in the meantime if I'm looking for something to play. But for the most part, a lot of the stuff is unfortunately more past for me personally, but definitely happy for those that want to see like the other games like the Damon Ex Machina and some of the other games that you just went over for the list. But um yeah, for me personally, it's mostly just Hollow Knight, and then Cult of the Lamb was pretty intriguing to me to potentially check out as well.
And for me, I'm I'm really interested in Bubsy 4D. I believe it's being made by Fabraz, and they do some really good stuff. I like their games, and you know, Bubsy 3D gets a terrible rap because of the limitations of the system, the time period. It just wasn't a very good game, and it's kind of interesting to say, like, what would it be like now with all the knowledge we have? So, it'd be really interesting to see how it's done. From what I've seen some. I saw Fabraz running through some like levels, and it looks like a lot of fun. Like it looks really cool. So, I'm really interested to see how the final version turns out. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, uh, classic beat 'em up like Golden Axe. So bring me right back to my childhood. Loved He-Man growing up in the '80s, so that's one I'm interested in. Absalom as well. It's another brawler like Golden Axe, Dungeons and Dragons kind of game. So I'm interested in that. Really looking forward to Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. So I have to get Pac-Man DLC because I love Pac-Man too. And I wasn't sure about Pac-Man World 2 repack because I did enjoy it on the GameCube, but there's so much going on. But now it's like, well, now there's Sonic DLC, so I might be going for that too. Because I never played the first Pac-Man World on PlayStation, but I did when they did the remake that just came out repack. I did play the PlayStation 5 version of it, and I just didn't like the first Pac-Man World. Like it didn't feel like a really good game, but I feel like World 2 is significantly better. From my memory, I really enjoyed World 2. So I'll probably play that at some point. Silksong, like I already said, it's maybe down the line, but I'm very happy for those that have been waiting. I haven't played a Lego game in a while. I very much enjoyed them back in the day, but Lego Batman. I said this about Lego Star Wars Skywalker. Like, it looked great. I want to play it. I still never played it. Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight. I feel like it's the same thing. Like, it looks great. I love it. I would probably love to play it, especially with my son. But I probably will be busy with other games that are higher on my list. However, as my son gets older, I'll probably be revisiting a lot of these Lego games, and after we watch the movies, I show them the movies, and then to play this, I think it'll be a lot of fun doing that. So that's probably when I'm going to mess around with that. Demon X Machina, I'm looking forward to. It looks great. Hopefully, I get a review code. Otherwise, with everything else coming out, I'll try and get to it as soon as I can. Indiana Jones, I love the character. I've heard nothing but great things about it. It's first person, and that's the biggest thing that pulls me off because I'm not a first person gamer. I'm not saying I won't play it. It just there has to be like a time for me to play it, and right now there just isn't a time. But again, I'm really glad to see some of these properties wind up going multi-platform. Chronos looked fantastic. It's not a game for me. I'm not a horror guy, but it does look fantastic, and I'm excited for those that play it, and hopefully it's good. And I know tons of people that are obsessed with Cult of the Lamb. It's been out for a while now. There's already a bunch of like expansions, I believe, and added content, and it makes sense why it's getting new content because it is very much beloved. So I'm happy to see more content coming for those that are obsessed with Cult of the Lamb, or for those that, like Greg mentioned, you know, decide to start playing it now and get to enjoy all that content. So that's our recap from Gamescom. If we missed anything, please let us know in the chat or the comments below. Say, oh, you forgot our favorite game. I will say, shameless plug here, PM Studios, company I'm with. We were there. Wonderful, wonderful team was there on the show floor. So if you happen to go to Gamescom and you saw the PM team, hope you gave them some love. Had some great stuff shown off. Bandit Trap was shown off. Chroma Gun 2 was shown off. Yuka Replay was shown off, which we just announced. The physical that we're doing the physical and the Switch 2 version is complete on cart. So just so all of you know, the big thing with Switch 2 games being game key cards, Yuka Replay will be complete on cart, and that's something we're doing at PM as we want to do right by the gamers out there and make everything as complete as possible. So shameless plug, but definitely some great games upcoming that if you were there, you got hopefully had a chance to play and test out. So before we go to our next section of what's coming up and upcoming games, I just wanted to do another quick plug for our Discord. If you enjoy the conversations we're having tonight and you want to talk more, please join us on our Discord. We're always there. We're always talking in between shows. So we'd love to hear from you. The link will be in the YouTube description below, as well as the podcast show notes. You could also follow us on all social media platforms at NintendoFuse. And if you want, please send in questions. We haven't done it in a while, but if you send in any questions, we'll read them, and we'll do a section for you on the next podcast or in the whatever following podcast following your question. And you could send that over to podcast@nintendofuse.com. So we'd love to hear from you. Moving on, we've got a couple games coming out. We've got 2 weeks worth of games. Just some notable ones on the 28th, this Thursday, August 28th. Kirby and the Forgotten Land Switch 2 edition with the DLC. On September 4th, we've got Hollow Knight Silksong. On September 5th, we've got Demon X Machina Titanic Scion. And I know, Greg, you're the one scrolling through. Normally, Steve is the one scrolling through. Um, what of these games coming up? Um, do any of these like interest you or anything? What do you plan to be playing?
Well, most definitely Hollow Knight. So I'm hoping to have the game chat games all wrapped up before then, so then I'm able to dive deep into this one. Because I'm sure I'm gonna be going for full, try to play the game into completion for the most part. I don't know if I'll necessarily have enough time to 100% it, but it depends on how big and broad they're going with this sequel. And then obviously it will take a little bit to get reacquainted with all the controls and everything, but um, yeah, that's pretty much gonna be like the main one. I do want to check out the Forgotten Land DLC though, because that I did really enjoy that game as one of my first main Kirby games, so I was probably going to be checking out that one as well. So that one's not as high as a priority as the Silk Song, but I certainly hope to probably at least like download the DLC and see what other kind of story elements that they add to the game because I did really enjoy my playthrough of that one.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's the next thing I pop in. In fact, I'll probably pause 100 line because I'm not going to finish 100 line before Kirby. I would love to, but that was my plan. It's not happening. But I definitely want to check out the Forgotten Land DLC. I loved Forgotten Land, so I plan to play through that. I could be wrong. I don't expect it to be huge, being $20. Like I expect it to be probably a day or two, and then move on to 100 line to finish that. The next big game that I'm very excited for, which wasn't one of the ones you highlighted, but it's coming out September 5th, and that's a game called Shuten Order, which I don't feel has gotten enough attention. This is also from the creators of Danganronpa. So I'm literally going from one game, Danganronpa, into another game, Danganronpa. So it's crazy year, but it looks really, really good, and I'm really excited for it. So that's the next big game, and then the next one after that, I got a little break until Trails of the Sky, the first DLC or the first remake comes out later in September. That's the next big game I'm going for. So hopefully by next podcast, if I haven't finished 100 line, I'll be I don't know what I'm doing, but my mom would be proud of me for reading a giant novel because there's a lot of reading involved. so before we end things, Greg, what's outside of video games? How have things been going? Anything going on in your life, and anything coming up that you're looking forward to? Want to share?
Pretty much still, not a whole lot going up. I still haven't secured a job yet, unfortunately, but I'm still actively applying and trying to get that resolved as soon as I can. At least before the next podcast, I do have my fantasy football league I do with some of my friends. I don't, even though I don't follow football in any way, shape, or form, I usually just enjoy the competitive aspect of seeing how well I can do without really knowing too much about the different players or what teams they're on and don't have tons of biases like saying they can't use certain players just because of they're on associated with a team or whatever. But it's still kind of all well and good fun with me to participate with some friends that in the different chats and stuff. So there's like a draft, I guess we're doing next Sunday or whatever. So I'll be having that all sorted, get my team all finalized and be ready to go before the start of the NFL season. So that's pretty much the main notable thing for me for the next episode. But I don't really think there's a whole lot going on outside of any miscellaneous random appointments or whatever that I get scheduled in to help fill up the day to while I in the interim while I search for a job. So
Hopefully that job hunt goes well and you can find something soon. Yeah, no, for me, I've been dealing with aging parent and having fun with that, all kinds of getting things situated and papers finalized and transferring over. That's a lot of fun, and I say that very sarcastically, but it's one of the realities of all of us as we get older. And just yesterday, I had I know Steve talked about a couple podcasts ago about how he had an implant, and then now I had my second implant drilled in, or at least the stub drilled in yesterday. So I'm doing my best talking with stitching in my mouth. But yeah, that's always fun. And tomorrow, my son's like moving up in daycare to into the class, so he's off tomorrow. So I've got to do work with him running around with a sore mouth the whole time. And they're tearing up. They're like my town is like redoing the gas line, so they're tearing up our road. So it's really hard to get in and out. So it's been a crazy time, but a fun time to be alive. And it's all those other things that make you appreciate the time you get to sit down and play a video game. I tell you, but it's great, and watching him getting a little older, He's starting to understand more. Well, one thing we didn't mention, which we could have done in the headlines, but we'll do it right here, is My Mario came out last night. Nintendo released the first three episodes on YouTube. They're very short, like less than a minute each. And I watched them with my son twice, and he loved them, and he laughed and he giggled, and he immediately recognized because he's got these plush Mario and Luigi backpacks, but they're really just the plushies. Like you really can't put much in them, but he has them, and he immediately put two and two together and ran over and grabbed them and watched the episodes holding them, and it was just like that was so like a proud dad moment.
Yeah, that's so
Like
special. That's awesome.
and like he was giggling as Mario would do different things because it's if you haven't watched them yet, they're really quick. It's cool stop motion animation, but it's obviously geared towards very young audience. But he loved it. He was giggling and laughing, and to me that was the best thing in the world. So, starting the Nintendo love really early and just seeing that. So I'm sure it's going to be on rotation that we'll put those on and just seeing him make that connection. Like I have that toy, just an awesome dad moment. So I figured I'd share since it's Nintendo related as well.
And hopefully they leave that stuff up too and not just like take it down after like a few weeks or months or whatever.
I hope I hope you're right. I would think that would be a crying shame. I if they when they finish it, I'll probably try and find like a bootleg in the Blu-ray or something to at least have them preserved because they're quick and they're funny. It reminds me of cartoons we grew up with that there was no substance. It was just a silly situation, but it was nice to see and it makes me hopeful for like introducing him to like the Super Show sooner. He's still too young to sit through and comprehend something really long. Even during this minute long thing, he was like playing with his cars, looking up, ha ha ha, like playing with his cars. So he's still not there yet, but he's close.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
but
do remember
definitely,
that. Yeah, I do remember that phase with my daughter. It was just like you want to try to see if like the TV can be somewhat entertaining, but it literally is only like not even a minute long before they like, let's go see what this is doing and then play with this instead. Oh, here's a toy over here. It's like very scattered, like can't really focus on watching like TV or whatever. So fully get it, and
yeah.
but that's still so special though.
Oh, it is. It's awesome, and I'm looking forward to many more years of seeing that happen and seeing him develop his Nintendo love. Hopefully he's not like that's for dads. I don't want that. So we'll see. But if you made it this far in the episode, just want to take a moment and thank you for joining us and for listening and for being a part of the show. We really do appreciate you being here. We just have a lot of fun every other Tuesday night. So just one more time, just want to remind you to subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast apps. And again, share with everybody that you know that loves video games. We really do appreciate it. Gets more attention and more people joining in. And follow us on social media at NintendoFuse everywhere and join our Discord. We'd love to connect with you. Our next episode will be on September 9th, 9/9/25, the anniversary of the Dreamcast launch. And Steve will be here. I'm pretty sure he's here. So if you missed Steve this episode, you'll be happy to know that he'll be back next time. So thank you all so much for watching and listening, and hopefully you enjoyed. And until next time, have a good one.
See you next time.